Sure. International Forum for Promoting Homeopathy was formed by a group of homeopathy lovers in Gulf country. And then homeopathic doctors along with the students joined with them and formed and worked for these 1,352 days. And today we are reaching a very fine session. We have 3 sessions in a row. The first session is already over today. That is our Hindi session. Very nice session. And that is from 7 to 8. And from 8 to 9, we have an international session in English, and 9 to 10, a local language session in Malayalam daily. And as you know that doctors from different parts of the world, as well as eminent personalities from different sections, have presented different subjects, and all the subjects were relevant, and we have worked unitedly to form an excellent team to fight against COVID and all those things. And we have been able to produce excellent services to the humanity by promoting homeopathy as well as protecting homeopathy. And these are the things that we used to do for the last so many days. And we have a wonderful guest in Dr. PRASHANT NUVAL. He has completed his MD and now doing his PhD. He is working as an assistant professor, Department of Organon Medicine, LHIRC, Bandu, Meshane, Gujarat. He has an experience of 5.5 years in teaching and is a consultant homeopath at Harith Homeopathy Clinic, Meshana, Gujarat since 2017. That means he has 7 years of experience. He has published 4 papers per review journals in 2023 and 1 case study in Homeopathy Heritage, September 2023. As you all know, why he is a person who has immense knowledge in organon, as well as the person who is able to describe the life of Dr. HAHNEMANN. And today the subject is an entirely different one. Dr. Samuel HAHNEMANN, as you all know, that our master of the master of homeopathy, and there are some stories about him. So Samuel HAHNEMANN, the story we know more, the man we know less about. So this is the subject of the day. Let us invite our guest of the day, Dr. PRASHANT, to this session. Okay, doctor, we proudly welcome you.
Namaskar, sir. Good evening.
Yes.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Please adjust your camera a little more. Your face a little bit dark. Can you
now it is clear, sir?
Yes, it is better to have some light on your face.
Okay, sir. No issues. I am going with this slide, so no issues with it. We are more focused in PPTs.
One more point I would like to request to our guests, because some are joined with without name. So kindly join with your name. Otherwise, sometimes some people have makes problem in our Zoom. So,
no.
So okay. You may continue. Welcome.
So, Namaskar, sir. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to share about Master HAHNEMANN. Actually, in our day-to-day life, we learn a lot of things about homeopathy. But issue is that whenever we talk about the master, we know very limited knowledge about it. Master. So I just want to share few things, what I learned in my journey with homeopathy, how it all came in my mind, how it all started. So on the beginning, whenever we need a knowledge of the future, whenever we need the knowledge of a future, we need our past history very clear. So person with a past history knowledge can create very beautiful future. Fine. So in our journey, this is very common. Am I audible? May I get thumbs up for this?
Yes, everything's fine. Everything's fine. You can go ahead.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. So what is commonly we know about Master Honeyman? This is
Uh,
what you can see in the screen, his birth year 1755. We all know he was from a poor family. His father was struggling to match two ends of the family many times, at least 2 to 3 times. He was like a dropout from the school. Then Master Muller came, he helped him. 1775, formal education, 79, degree from the Erkland. But why from the Erkland? That we know less. Then marriage of the master. Then 1786 something happened. He left medical practice. 1790 he's translating Cullen's Materia Medica, and suddenly Eureka, he found cinchona bark. Then 1796 he declared the essay about the homeopathy. 99 scarlet fever. We all know how homeopathy established in acutes by the belladonna and opium at that time. 1805 Friends of Health. Then 1810 first organon edition, then lots of in the queue up to 1921, 1811 to 1821 Materia Medica Pura, 1828 chronic disease, 1834 second marriage with the Madame Melanie shifted to Paris, and 1843 death. This is what we in our regular learning in academics we know this. But actually, when I was a student, I had lots of questions with this biography of Master, lots of issues with the things. But ultimately, when I was reading all these things, I was a medical student, I was in my post graduation. I took 5 year break before I joined the medical education again. After BHMS, I took 5 year to join the MD, to doctorate. So a doctor, ultimately for me, his image was like a doctor who was not happy with the current medical system. That's why he left it, accidentally found law of similia, and the whole life he was struggling to prove the similia. He was facing lots of thrashes, lots of issues. He had lots of financial issues. We heard about the stories about how he was struggling to establish his family's bread and butter. He had 2 wives, 11 children, and 14 plus centers he changed. End of the day, moral of the story, this is the conclusion what I found, maybe most of us found in a typical learning of academic biography of Honeyman, which is needed for 10-15 marks. And it was like, okay, we are knowing about him. If someone is asking who was Honeyman, he was founder of homeopathy. And inside we are saying that, okay, he was struggling, he was practicing. But when I started learning, I had this question as a fresh novice homeopath, that if this is the story of Master Honeyman, this is the story of Samuel, how it can inspire a young practitioner to accept the homeopathy by such talks, that if the founder himself was struggling to establish himself, what about ourselves? If he, the one who started, is not getting establishment, he is not prosperous, how we can stable? We all are ready to struggle, but what if the landmark or pioneer we are following can't lead to a peace at last? Because the bitter truth of the present time is, we all need one simple phenomenon. We need war for the reward. We have to read it very carefully, that if we are fighting for something, at least we should find something from it. What is the outcome from it? And that is what Honeyman is all about. How I will get something beautiful out of it. If I am struggling this much to learn homeopathy, but how I can inspire myself? And I have lots of queries about different stories, like about his getting the medical practice, about the abracadabra book published, anti-organon articles. What about all those things? How he was managing all those things? I haven't found it in my routine books, which are common in BHMS curriculums. So I was like an average homeopathic student who had lots of questions. Even I deviated from the path. I just tried to be one of the mass. I tried to be mediocre. I tried to earn bread and butter from other pathies. But I come to feel something, that Samuel Honeyman, we know lots of story about him. But what about the man whom we know less? What is wrong in it? So at my post graduation day, when I tried to come back, I found some glimpses of the reality of Master. And I have started seeing in the context of life, डे टू डे लाइफ में कैसे कनेक्ट हो रहा है, कैसे वो जो बोल रहे हैं, द वे ही इज स्पीकिंग, द थिंग्स ही इज शेयरिंग, हाउ इट इज गोइंग अप टू लाइफ लास्ट रूट. So my post early post graduation days were very complicated. I had lots of questions whether homeopathy is going to work, how it is going to help. If he is having lots of things, how I can do this, that, how you can manage your time. You have lots of work material, repertory, organ on postings, cases, solving. You are taking case 1.5 hours. You are solving it. What about it? But when I have started reading, I have started understanding Samuel Honeyman. I felt he is the one whom we should follow for the holistic. Holistic means wholesome. Everything is there. And holistic, the most divine, the most devoted, the most beautiful thing you can find in homeopathy. So nothing was there. As he have selected, the truth we mortal need was blessed and keep. It is slightly covered over, but did not bury deep. The Gallet poem actually, before Organon, applies to our master's life. The truth we need is little bit deeper. I dig it and I found it. The brushing helped me a lot in my life. So what we know about master? We know he's founder of homeopathy. When I've started knowing about Master Honeyman, I was initially knowing that he was a founder of homeopathy. He's pioneer of bacteriology. He is a pioneer or precursor of psychology. Three branches I was knowing. He he just helped me in the science. But when I've gone little bit deeper, what I found, homeopathy, botany, psychology, psychiatry, bacteriology, microbiology, ethical science, drug proving, pharmaceutical business, biophysics, chemistry, PSM, hygiene, vaccination, linguistics, business management, nanotechnology, immunology, clinical toxicology, industrial toxicology, what we call occupational therapy nowadays, pharmaceutical regulations, occupation medicines, metallurgy, forensic medicine, research, physics, psychotherapy, medical substance marketing, medical education, botany. This is just a beginning. These are 40 lists. I have found more than 73 branches of the various stream where master directly or indirectly is very well known. And that's why I can recall a sentence what I have found while I was reading, that if Samuel have not started doing homeopathy, na, he was the single one who could be all in one package in the science, the one who deserved the first Nobel Prize. He was the one. But what happened? Because of his one achievement, all these are subsided. Even as a medical student, as a BHMS, as a homeopathic student, many of us are not knowing about it. Many are practicing homeopathy, giving dynamized remedies, but they know are not known to the stories master had with it. And there where our roots are very weak. Actually, we are the exam which is more tougher than the CAT or more tougher than the UPSC, because they are at least having 1% result. But in 1 year, after 5 years struggle as a student, as a teacher, as a system, we are very less assured in certain state that we will get one full-time homeopath who is going to be a homeopath for the lifetime. So here again, for me, that was the war of reward, because I had seen the peak of allopathic practice, peak of the modern medicine, so-called modern medicine. And then I come to know that this is what is my gene. This is what my base. This is what my purpose of existence, homeopathy. And why I want to learn homeopathy from Honeymann's perspective. Because when you are reading about the money and financial stability issues of master, that is half story. His childhood is half story. When you go through the life history of Honeyman, the life and letters of Honeyman from T.L. Bradford, page number 382, every year at that time in 1835-36, he was not earning less than 2 lakh franc per annum. And while I was researching, I come to know the overall net worth of Honeyman was around 3.5 to 4 million francs. Friends, just imagine at that time when 1 rupee, 2 rupee was like very big amount. 2 lakh per year practice in Paris and 40 lakh as an asset. Even today, earning 40 lakh as an asset in 8 years. I am talking about 1834 to 42. 8 years of Hahnemannian practice in Paris. He was like living in posh area. He was living a life of a rich. Then why he is shown poor to us? Why this story is hidden? Why this is missing? Aren't we harming our homeopathy more by hiding these things or being ignorant to this thing rather than the allopathy harming us? Because if any student on the first day coming with this knowledge that 8 or 16,000 per month, at that time he was earning what our basic need of this current scenario as a fresher, 15-20,000 simple job somewhere, he was earning in homeopathy. Imagine how it will create a big impact on the understanding. That was my purpose. And that's why this person, this is the real photograph of Hahnemann, the original photograph of Hahnemann. 1841 is the year where he was acting with certain things. This photograph is taken by a Daguerre type stereo camera, one of the primitive camera in the Paris. It is not portrait, it is photograph. It is having its own story. It took 2.5 hours to set up everything. An original camera, 1840s we are talking about, not today's multimedia, where in 2-3,000 you are getting something. At, at that time, it was costly than the making paintings and portrait. So just imagine if he is having this photograph, how could he be poor? How could he be not knowing things? So first thing, poor mentality, poor mindset in homeopathy, it removed from my mind. It was just like, I have to learn and I will earn. What Hahnemann said, the difference of L is lots of efforts, lots of efforts. So Hahnemann started from where? How it is useful in my practice. Friends, if you have to understand Srimad Bhagavad Gita, what is the most important aspect you have to learn first? What is the most important aspect? Is it shloka? Is it adhyay? Is it understanding? No. First thing you have to understand is Krishna. If you can understand Krishna, it is just a small part of Krishna's whole lifespan. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the holy book we follow very religiously, which is giving the guidance in any situation, is just a small part. So if a small portion of him giving us so light, imagine what level of understanding enlightenment you can get if you can understand the Krishna. Same applies to Hahnemann, the person who have contributed in more than 70 branches. Homeopathy is just one of it. Imagine if you can understand Hahnemann, how much it can help you in your practice as a person. Your involvement, your involvement will be changed. Your evolution will be changed. You will feel it. You will start living it the moment you will connect. This is what my experience is all about. And this word vocation and evocation is very important. Few things you do for your stomach, few things you do for your heart. When you are doing for your stomach, you need money, you need reward, you need material gain. Few things you do for your heart because you feel it, you enjoy it. It is just like your hobby. So homeopathy, homeopathic, and a homeopathist, the journey is very beautiful. First, you have to be homeopathy. Then you can think of homeopathist. And homeopathy is a smallest, tiny portion of this big ocean named Samuel Christian Gottfried Hahnemann. So if you can touch it, your all issues, what I should do after BHM is, buddy, you are already in medical field. What you will do? You will do practice. And that shouldn't be your burden. That should be your inspiration. If you will read him fully, you will not let it go ever. The single line of 4 million have changed mindset of lots of students I came into contact. That 2 lakh per annum is a clear-cut thing, because we all are, whether we want or not, first target as a young chap, we need money to establish our practice, to establish our family, to fulfill our duties. So this vocation and evocation, that your heart, gap between your heart and your stomach will be very distinguished, very clear. You will be like anything in it, and it will inspire you. You don't have to attend any sort of motivational seminars. If you know Honeyman only 1%, you will never feel disheartened, or you will never feel distorted. In my last 7 years, at least, thank God, I haven't felt single day why I am doing homeopathy, why I am facing this thing, why I am waking late night to prepare something, or giving my 2, 3, 4 hours for a patient. So this is energy. You can feel it in my voice. This is what I am going to share today. So let us start with this thing. As a student, we will see short lights of his life, because if I will start talking about Honeyman, na, it is like we have a long katha in our area. It is like a long story. 18-20 hours are minimum for it. So let us see few beautiful phases of his life. As a student, who was his first teacher? His father. He said never be a passive listener or learner. When Honeyman was at home, his father was teaching him basics of life, not alpha, beta, gamma, theta. Like 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. If he was teaching him this, he was also teaching him how to do a skill work, how to develop himself as a worker, how to help others. Virtues he was installing in him. And that is what all about. So he in his lifetime never accepted anything as a blind faith. Even in his religious belief, he had his own questions. If time will permit, I will discuss in detail in further. But this sentence was his like written on the stone of his life, that he will not be a passive listener or learner. So as a student, he was very ardent. So this is the first quality you need from the Honeyman. Never be passive. Ask a question. पूछोगे तभी तो पता चलेगा. Three prominent personality in his medical field or his journey of academic. First is a Master Muller. We all know he was headmaster, helped him. We have gone through about him in data. Dr. Quarin, a physician from the Hospital of Brother of Mercy. He was like supporting Honeyman like anything. He was very well revered practitioner of that time. He was like from that eclectic school, or what we call orthodox school. But the third name I am discussing today, Professor Porner. He was a professor of master in his undergraduate phase. When he took his medical degree, master was having a lots of financial issues. So what Porner did, he gave him lots of lecture tickets. At that time, there was a system, you have to buy a lecture like seminar. Today we buy seminar subscriptions. Same, everywhere it is not free for all. So he was having that. Beside that, Porner was a person who came to know that master is knowing lots of languages, including Greek, Latin, Roman, Hebrew, and other. So he gave master lots of students to teach about the Latin terminologies, about the Greek histories, about the linguistics. And from that earning, master was getting his bread and butter fees and his livelihood. He was saving for his further education also. So this name, Professor Porner, is not used to found in the history, but he is there. He is the first one in the medical field who gave him lots of tuition students, who gave him lots of these lecture tickets. And because of it, master become master. Otherwise, he was in a situation, even he fell sick by the malaria in his education, undergraduate life. He was the one who treated him very nicely with the quinine. And that is the relation with Culens Materia Medica. There are lots of things we are not reading day by day. So that is very beautiful. Second thing, we all know about the Gellert poem. I have uttered it just few minutes before. There is a clear-cut relation between Gellert and Samuel Hahnemann. Any of you can post it in chat box. What was the clear-cut relations? Because Gellert was a very famous poet of his lifetime. He was almost 30 years senior than the Hahnemann. Why no any other? He was knowing 7 languages. Why he selected Gellert only for his first magnum opus, for the first biggest book he can publish as an organon of medicine, first edition? Because Gellert was his school super senior. He studied from Prince High School, Gellert from the same school, St. Afra Church Promised School. So he shown the that relation with him. And Gellert was very famous for his deep intellectual wordings. So this is a relation. It is not coincidence he selected Gellert. That was a simple message to the world to respect their seniors, to learn from them, to give them references and respect. Third incidence from his student life, after Professor Corner's all help and all the things, money he saved in his undergraduate, some room partner of him or a friend of him, he stole that money. Master was totally broken, but he was not bitter to that person. He said repentance demands forgiveness. So I am forgiving that person. My job is to get a new vision. So that is how you move on from the things or shattered dreams. That is what we need in a first year student, because everyone comes in a BHMS. 90% of them came with a shattered dreams of being an allopath or MBBS. So they should know this thing. They should forgive themselves. If something wrong is happening around, they should learn that if they will spend their time in all these things, they won't reach anywhere. So forgive and go forward. This is a student aspect. This is a highlight what I learned as a PG student, and I applied it and it helped. I went to my professors for learning. I always try to gratitude whoever have helped me in somewhere. I try to give respect to the seniors from whom I'm learning or I have learned or I am going to learn. And I'm never a passive listener. So this is a one aspect of Honeyman, which is not in a used to book. We are using short books. This is from the actual biographies of Honeyman, not biography. Biographies from lots of Campbell to Herring to Richard Hall to Bradford to Honeyman himself. This repentance demands forgiveness is written by Honeyman about his journey. So the second one, when he was good linguistic, na, homeopathy term given in 1810 in first edition of Organ on Medicine, the word allopathy, allopaths using and abusing every day to other pathies, not only us. You know the condition of the Ames versus Patanjali case in Supreme Court. That is what we don't want to. We want to prove ourselves. So that word allopathy, they are saying we are allopathic doctors. That word is given by Honeyman. They are living the borrowed term even. And the word quackery, what hurt us most? Sometimes when people are using it in a wrong way to give a media trial to us, that word in a medical field first time openly used by Honeyman himself. So these terms which are backfiring on us are given by Master himself. So never ever feel ashamed. They are giving us nothing but what they don't know. So you should know what Master had given in the field. So let us go a step ahead. So let us check what next. Do you know, people, that concept of simillimum 1790 or 96, but idea of minimum came prior to it. Honeyman, as a physician, as an allopathic physician or orthodox method teacher, he was very well aware of suffering of a people. At that time, syphilis was the disease which was almost like HIV and cancer of today, incurable category. He was looking at the people suffering due to the mercurious application on the wound and lots of hazardous metal as a medicine. As an apothecary, he was a very good chemist also, thanks to his father-in-law. He processed something and he gave one new thing. He made poison oral ingestion possible, named as mercurius solubles honeymanni. It was before homeopathy came into existence. So though we came with the help of China, but the seeds of homeopathy are hidden in mercurius solubles honeymanni, and this name is not only in our materia medica. This is official term in the chemistry how they prepare mercury for the oral injections. Yet it is in the name of chemistry honeymanni, given by Honeyman. And what he did, he decreased the amount of material of mercurious or toxic substance, a clear-cut death sentence for the people if they consume it in an oral form with the help of lots of aluminum, nitric acid, and processes. So for me, in my learning, this idea of minimum came prior to the idea of similimum. That's what all about is. So sequence was very beautifully changed at that time. So first learn to be minimum, similimum will come automatic. That will reduce the mindset of many students in the future. And why he is so good chemist? See, apothecary at Dessau, when he married to Johanna Leopold Kuchler, the Hasler was his father-in-law. That was the place where he was sitting when he had a very few patients. He learned chemistry there. He learned process of lots of metals and minerals because apothecary belongs to metallurgy also up to certain level. So that was very beautiful. So when you maintain lots of relation with your surrounding, if you know using your free time, you will be a very beautiful homeopath and a better person also. He was thinking about the humanity prior to homeopathy. That's why for me, homeopathy is just a branch when I'm talking about Samuel. In the love of him, I call him Samuel. Otherwise, he's always a master. I don't prefer even a word doctor. It's a very small word for him. He's the master. He is the one who can appeal the mass. So that was the thing which make me fascinated. Yes, mercurius soluble honeymanni prior to similimum. Why it was missed? Next, about being a translator. In the books, we know about the Cullen's Materia Medica. But do you know Cullen's Materia Medica 1788, 89, 90 era? But before it, as a chemist, when he left his medical practice completely in 1786, he was doing a beautiful work of translator because he learned lots of language in his childhood, in his school time. So skill learned, never go wasted. He's the best example. And this book, Demake's Art of Manufacturing, was in manufacturing chemical, was in French. He translated it. He translated it into uh, our this language of English, Germans. He had that work, and slowly, that book got more sell rather than the original book. Imagine, because he added his correction in it. So whenever you are working something, show your dedication. That is what Honeyman is all about. He was a German, very meticulous, very particular. But with it, he was honest also. He was knowing that though I am only a translator of this book, they deserve better option. So he added lots of things. Second thing about the arsenic in forensic, even till today, even Napoleon, the French king or warrior, whatever you tell him, when he died on Saint Helena, island of Saint Helena, after years of his death, they again dig his grave. They took sample of his hair, his nail, and they found arsenic in it. That was first mentioned by Honeyman. That's why for me, he was the first Sherlock Holmes. He was the first Sir Arthur Conan Doyle for me. The beautiful fiction about the arsenic poisoning, he mentioned even till today, it is applicable as it is in forensic science without giving the reference or value or gratitude to him up to certain level. It aches my heart. But the truth is, I have gone through. You can go through it. He gave the beautiful lots of poisonous effects in the toxicology, whether it is veratrum album or arsenic or plumbum toxicity, lots of things. So that's one part. So myth about being translated only medical books, he translated more than 4 stream. I know about 4 or 5 stream. Even poetry book he translated in his time because he don't want a single penny from the wrong method. So it was good for him being a translator. And this Democles was the best seller of him. Even up to new revolution in chemistry, it was most authentic book and translation in Europe. Next is Odysseus. This is from the second edition. We all know in the first edition, we found lots and lots and lots of people talking about Honeyman. They literally attacked on him, his friend Hufland, his friend Robbie. Lots of people called him Charlton, him quack, and lots of black magic and abracadabra books. So he left the way of artist and he shown them that if you want to be a wise, na, have the daring. When you will tell the truth, they will try to behead you. Be ready for it. And that is what all about Odysseus. It took 9 years to him. But this is the academic portion we know. The book Odes from the Roman poet Horace, it is taken. Do you know in his childhood, he was a regular visitor of a church in the Saint Ephra Church near Prince High School. He came to contact of this word and it imprinted from his childhood in his brain. And that's why from the childhood, he never accepted wrong. And me, his Odes appearing in 3 lawsuits of his life. We know about one, about the apotheosis dispute. Those who love Honeyman, they know about it. But before that, in 1801 and 1804, 1801, Eilenberg, he had a conflict with his neighbors and led his practice and his families. So he was not ready to accept the wrong thing. So he fought that lawsuit and he won it. In 1804, he bought a property somewhere and his landlord and a broker made him full. So he clearly slammed them. He sued them in a court and he won that case. These two are very well-known cases. Never accepted compromise in a wrong method or manner. This is the beauty of his Odes Apere. This is my Odes Apere. And third one, well-known case in Leipzig, when he was practicing nicely, everything was going good. People came to him that you should give us the order. As a chemist, we will dispense your medicine. He said, you are preparing orthodox medicine. I am a homeopath. My medicine is prepared on a different scale, different method. You can't. They directly sent him court notice, and there was a clear-cut court case which ran from 1819 to 21. He lost the case there. The judgment was like a balanced judgment that he will not do a self-dispensing, and 20 thalar, it is not a big amount at that time, but it was just a symbolic penalty to him for breaking the law. So he simply shifted from the Leipzig to avoid further law issues, but he was not ready with this. So he directly applied to the court of the King of Saxony with the lots of patient support. And within that appeal, he nullified both the orders. 20 thalar was not a big amount for him. It was okay for him. The issue was, I will not bend. Before Pushpa, he was hero for me. He said, jukega nahi. That is the beauty of Honeyman. He refused to pay 20 thalar and he said, I will self-dispense. There is no single chemist in the whole Saxony who can prepare my medicine. I am giving 160,000 drop. 1 by 60,000 drop of a medicine. Can you prepare it? And what you will charge for it? You will simply loot them out. And ultimately, court accepted. He was allowed to do self-dispensing from his clinic. And that was the first case in the Europe of a self-dispensing. And that's why the dispensary concept, where a doctor can also dispense medicine to others, was established. So even those MBBS who are keeping medicines with them in the clinic and dispensing medicine from there without the help of chemist, they should be grateful to the Honeyman, to his Odes Apere. They should know whom they have to go down for this type of short and small setups. And it saved from the drug lobby mafia of that time. So this is my Honeyman with the Odessa Pere. It is okay in the this literature, but he was very clear. Even I am not ready to pay 20 rupees penalty because I am not wrong. This is the famous dispute from 3 apothecaries he encountered for 2 years and he won it as a friend. It is okay being a good person, sorry, good doctor. It is needed to be a very good friend. As a friend, if you go through a T.L. Bradford's book of a life and letter of Honeyman, you will read a very beautiful letter. How to live a cheerful life. Honeyman was living somewhere, Kothan, and he shifted from there. A tailor whom he was giving his work of stitching, he felt disheartened because of the shifting of Honeyman. So he wrote a letter to Honeyman that, sir, I am feeling alone. He said, buddy, we all are here with a purpose. We all are having our life. Forget about what happened, what can happen. Just simply live your life cheerfully. There is a whole letter. If future will permit, I would like to share it with you. It is a readable letter. It will take 10-15 minutes. You should read whenever you are feeling that life is on a wrong track. It is not about homeopathy. It is about life on a wrong track. When people are targeting you or you are not getting the attention from the people, your life is messed. This is what students should know in first year. Second thing, he was a regular. He was a regular letter writer to all the people. He received letter from all over the globe, and he simply revert them back. Even in one book of his biography, it is randomly mentioned that when he, after his demise, when all the collection of his correspondence, it was more than 30 kg. Imagine, in his lifetime, he kept letters with him. All the friends, he read a letter of Bonning Hussain about the high potency very beautifully, which is mentioned in that high potency concept of alumina is mentioned in Bonning Hussein's laser writing. Students should know why communication is important with your near and dear one. You are on the chair of homeopathy for 4, 5, 6, 8, 12 hours. What about other 12 hours? Aren't you a good, deserving person? After healing lots of people, you also need good friends. And friends will turn the face when you are successful. Accept it, because Hufeland was the best, one of the best friend of Honeyman. He allowed him to publish in 1796, but same Hufeland compelled him to write down the aphorism number 8 from the 4th edition after investigation for the 12 years about the miasm, because he wrote an article, Die Homeopathy only treats the symptoms, disease remain. From a friend, such comment can break you down. He didn't. He was very clear that if I am right, then I will write. And that is what Honeyman is all about. Be passionate about it, friends. It is not a subject which you can learn with no energy. You need constant high energy. Robbie is the teacher of Herring who sent Herring to write Anti-Organon, the book which can finish homeopathy. What happened later on is a history, but Robbie was also colleague of Honeyman at certain level. The jealousy compelled him to do this, because the first person who is wrong around you will priorly affect you, and never forget it. So he had good friends and he had friends who turned face from him, but he remained a faithful friend lifetime. So that is a quality we need. Next and most important thing, in the stories you have heard, he was not having money. He was having lots of issues, lots of things. He was struggling in his meantime. Just imagine, you are MD today and you are practicing for a while. You are practicing for 5 times. At the age of 41, he left the practice. He got the degree in 29. In 12 years, what do you think? He haven't earned that much money that he can give a better life to his family. Not obviously the posh life, but better or livelihood can be maintained. But this one mistake, alkali neum mistake, I call it alkali neum कांड actually. In Hindi we call it कांड. उनके साथ कांड हो गया वाली बात थी. After leaving practice in Mollen Town, 1800, he was a chemist. He was experimenting every day. and he found one white, beautiful powder with lots of chemical properties. He found it very useful in certain conditions. So he gave it Neum, this Neum word deriving from the Greco-Roman history, from the Hippocratic concept, and it was non-acidic powder in the initial stage. So he started selling it, and that was the time when it was very helpful for different type of skin affections and nose obstructions. So he sold it on very high value, and he earned lots of money. In 1806 or before it, people started checking it. The only mistake Hahnemann did, he forgot to do the chemical analog checking of the powder. So one chemist from the France, from the Paris, he declared the powder Hahnemann selling on the name of Neum is nothing but the refined borax powder with little bit extra quality. So now that was a negative impact on the name of Hahnemann. So in 1806, Hahnemann decided that I am not going to continue this selling. He stopped selling. The single person who is having, who had bought this Neum from Hahnemann, he returned their money from his saving and all his livelihood and all these things. Even he took lots of raw material from the market because he was selling and earning very nicely from it. So he sold out everything and he just paid the money to the customer. That was his ethical side. And because of it, he faced lots of issues of a finance for a while. It doesn't mean he remained a poor life long. No, but it was the biggest reason. Imagine you have done a business of 50, 100, 50, 70 lakh in 6 years. You have 20 lakh in your account and 30, 40 lakh as an asset, and you have 10 lakh in your raw material stock, and suddenly you come to know that a product you are selling is not ethical, and you have decided to buy back all the product, and you are giving money to each and every person who is having a history of purchasing from your shop. You will be bankrupt. Same happened with him. He didn't bankrupt. So that shows he was very good in his finance, and he was an ethical businessman also. So I respect him. It was not only homeopathy, it was his basic nature that I will not do wrong, I will not accept wrong. That is alkaline new mistake which created money crisis in his life for a while. As a businessman, I have said. Second thing, when he shifted to the Paris, the most beautiful part, every homeopathic student should learn. Every homeopathic organon teacher should teach the Paris life of a Hahnemann. If you will teach this, na, you don't have to give seminars or you don't have to tell them go, because the first purpose, they all are coming from a target driven society. So they will get a target. And the best part, as a homeopath in Paris, I felt in the whole journey of Hahnemann was he did a clinical setup there, and there were two ways, two doors of the Paris, and he put a help center with a full-time person there as a help center of a homeopathic practice. So anyone entering into Paris, first there is a free marketing that there is something homeopathic in Paris, and second, if any patient coming from outside, they can get assistance as soon as they enter the Paris. This is the biggest and beautiful marketing. That's why I have included that business management. And you can listen Mr. Bajaj from Bajaj Group of automobiles and others. They were almost finished. Their first scooter named behind Spirit. Is it common that Spirit word is belonging to organon, Spirit word belonging to homeopathy, and Spirit is the first gearless scooter of the India, and it is the pioneer of today's gearless scooter, which is having a more cell rather than the gear bikes today. And if you go through the whole journey, na, that Spirit will give you spirit. While I was understanding the business and Hahnemann, I found four biggest business established just on the thought process. Second one is the antitoxin business. Dr. Bo, the person who established about the anti-diphtheric toxin or diphtheria's antidote, He simply shown gratitude to Hahnemann. Reference toward close philosophy chapter we should search, so it will give us lots of insight. But it is from Stuart Close philosophy. And clinical setup, he took a big bungalow, he gave lots of room and open area and hall and everything. Lots of people were taking care of the people coming from different part of the globe, and they were attended very nicely. There was a holistic system. The business was up to date. It was not a random setup of a clinic. It was well established business. Even if today we follow 10% of it, na 70% of problems of practice will go away. Even taking charges, he took nice charge or good amount from the rich people, and he was giving free treatment to the poor, and both having the same appointment system, no discrimination or differentiation between them, established him as a very good person also in the Paris, where he was seen as a German physician rather than the France person. So being in the different country, he established within 8 months because of this behavior, and it averaged his money also, because he was taking 10,000 from the rich and serving three poor people. So for him, the consultation was 2,500. So it was okay for him. It was not a loss method. And the last photograph I told about, daguerreotype photograph, it was the one of costliest photograph. You can just Google it and you will find it. And it is having Dr. Diwan's book, Glimpse on the Hahnemann. It is clearly mentioned with the date 30.9. 30th September, if I am not wrong, it was the date the single photograph we all have was there. So that is the beauty. A poor person cannot afford that type of photographs. So it is bursting the myth of Hahnemann being poor, and he was also fond of all these things. So a homeopath should learn these things also: consultation, marketing, management, clinic, pharmacy setup, everything. This is the only branch and only pathy and only book where you know each and everything from the priorly. Even after doing MBBS, MD, MS, DM, you don't know how to take charge or consultation. Homeopathy and Hahnemann is the only person who has written about it very nicely. It is a very famous incident of a Dr. Gross, who was, though having a very nice practice, was not making good money. He was struggling to establish many things. Hahnemann called him up, kept him with his own practice, and then taught him very nicely. Those correspondence and letters will teach you how to take money from the people and how to do a service of the person. So
Sir,
that
sir,
yes, sir.
sir,
Yes,
how many slides more? Otherwise, we can
I
have it.
think, sir, last slide, this one, then we can go ahead. Uh, I don't feel that we will able to complete this long. 4 or 5 slides are remaining.
We can
But
have one more presentation. We can have a second part of the site so that
sure, sir. Sure, sir. I'm just completing with this last religious person. Then we will go for the second part also, sir. If it is possible, we will go for the second part. So basically, he was Protestant. So church reforms were his challenges. So in his book, you will find this Baruch, Almighty, talk of the God, lots of things you will get. Aphorism 14, 17, preserver of mankind, preserver of health. He used divine language in it. And the materia medica he established, it is a Luther spirit concept of the Protestant group, where arrangement is from head to downwards. Head comes first, then the limbs. And that is materia medica is all written about. And that's why if you go little bit deeper, you will come to know Richard Hughes and Hahnemann conflict. It is not only medical conflict, it is religious somewhere. So the whole story should be known, just like history. Don't take it as a random thing. That is very beautiful. And this Luther spirit, I was going through Campbell's writing on Hahnemann, and this Robert Gutte is also having a book. On the page number 38, this Luther spirit is very nicely mentioned. So ultimately, this is Hahnemann as a religious person. So up till here, we are continuing. I am just concluding with this last thing, that when Hahnemann was living, He was trying to be a best man of value, but he was not running behind success. An allopath having a very beautiful practice, a stable life, a, a prosperous future ahead. But the thing which make him to think was these people, Horace, Gellert, Kant, Socrates, Confucius, everyone will require at least 5 minute effect on the honeyman. Honeyman is not honeyman in one day. There are lots of influences, lots of things, lots of journey. It is not just like, it is not the story. Even the story of Newton is wrong, that he was sleeping and he had seen the apple falling. No, there is a lots of things attached to it. Why on that day only? Why only the apple? It is not apple, it is the whole efforts of honeyman in it. So he always tried to be a man of value rather than the man of success. So for me, honeyman is all about this. It is not, for me, it is not story of a man. It is all about the man. And you know the difference between a and the. So it is very beautiful for me. So maybe it was little bit hasty, little bit hard, little bit energetic. But sorry, I can't control my emotions while I am talking about honeyman. So maybe it was little bit not that routine talk, but I am talking about something different. Honeyman was also not a routine person. So he came here, he did something, and he went. But he went with lots of success, lots of value, and the legacy behind us. People after 250, 70 years at the night, at the time of dinner, talking about Honeyman, around 100 people are listening about him. This is what he did. Thousands of people every year getting their dream completed about being a doctor, a physician, a healer. Lakhs of people, millions of people are getting benefit of it. So for me, he is the man, not a man. So thanks a lot for listening so peacefully. You people are really very nice. You have given me the chance. So thanks a lot. And over to respected sir about this thing. So
Yes,
thanks a lot.
it's really a wonderful presentation, one of the super presentation, I must say, because life, everybody knows about Dr. Samuel Hahnemann in a different way, but you have shown the other side of Dr. Hahnemann, which nobody knows about him. Unfortunately, these are the things that to be brought to the brought in front of the people, so that students, not only for the students, even the doctors, so that we can get success if everybody knows about what Hahnemann was during his time. And people of all of us are getting a benefit out of his, not only for the livelihood, but we are able to treat the patient in a different way without doing any harm to the patient. That is the beauty of the homeopathy. We know that there are different systems in the world, but of course, after taking some medicines, so it may do much damage than good. Of course, they can save at times, but it is not always. But the beauty of Hanuman itself is that he is a person, not a person of greedy. He just lived for the life of the people, and his vision was really something great at that, to build up a meanings for the people and not for his benefit. And that's what I have seen, I have noted from this presentation. Since there is we are about to conclude the session, we have another session, one more session. I invite Dr. Bob Lim to say vote of thanks to the session. So the interaction time is cut short tonight, and tomorrow, definitely in the next time, we will have more time dedicated to. Usually we dedicate some 15 minutes for the discussion, so we can
Nice.
because the subject is one of the brilliant subject, the other side of Dr. Hahnemann. So we will definitely consider that in the as per your convenience, we can arrange the session, and definitely this session will be uploaded by tomorrow itself. And those who miss the session can definitely watch again and again, and you can share with your friends. And because this is the way homeopathy is to be promoted among public as well as people around the world. Now, Dr. Bob Lim, please. Yes, please unmute.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, this has been very different session tonight. But I think as the associate professor, Dr. Prashant has given us a very deep insight into the life and the lifestyle and his mental concept towards a medicine, especially in homeopathy. I think it has been a very good sharing, and it's also a very good insight tonight. Thank you very much, Dr. Prashant.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, there is some technical problem with Dr. Paul. Tomorrow we will have a session from another professor from Gujarat, that is Dr. Nirav Ganatra, and Doctor will be discussing about the scope of holistic homeopathy in management of hypertension. That will be the session for tomorrow. And with that, we come to the end of the day. So, on behalf of International Forum for Promoting Homeopathy, as well as my behalf, I am telling what the auto thanks to those who attended the session also. And once again, we are thankful to Dr. Prashant for your excellent presentation. Hope we can have some more presentation in the future. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir.